Good morning. Namaste. I hope you are well. Morning, Elaine. Amazing to see you. Susanna, kisses right back at you. So I wanted to leave today's 11:08 transmission free and available for or reflections, comments, or maybe even to ask some questions that we can open up a sort of discussion. This isn't the optimal platform for discussions, but I just felt that it was important to just allow space for a little bit more interaction and engagement with you all. I just so love reading your comments during and after the transitions, and also at other times, those of you that are also active on our Facebook group, the Holistic Health and Wellness Community, and who contact me through Instagram. It's always wonderful to to chat and to answer questions and to hear your feedback and comments. So I would love to open this space up. Do you have any questions? Do you have any reflections? Maybe there's something that's particularly up for you at this time, something that's not doesn't have to be just challenging. It can also be something that's really wonderful that you're seeing in the world. I would love for you to bring that forward and for us to share a little bit of that in that space. So please do send a question or type in a reflection, or maybe there's something that you have really enjoyed in these transmissions. Maybe there's some content that you really enjoy hearing or watching, and you want to share that with me now, and perhaps I can share a little bit more or make a note to do more of that in the future. How can I assist you? How can I help you? What are your reflections? What are your insights? Is there anything that is up for you? Please share in the comment section on this thread. And I would absolutely love to start a little bit more of a discussion type dialogue. Elaine, you're on Facebook. Perhaps you have some questions or something that you'd like to reflect, some beautiful things you see out in the world and the community, or something that's challenging, perhaps. It would be wonderful to hear. So Vicky's just sent a comment on Instagram Live, and she said, I have definitely felt overwhelmed recently. Do you have any advice? Yeah, sure. It's coming to that stage, isn't it, with this lockdown quarantine phase where it's been a while. It's for many of us, we haven't spent this amount of time isolated and in our homes and down to completely minimum interaction with our families and our friends. And so it's completely natural and normal to be feeling this way. So there's a few things that we can do to, shall we say, maybe neutralize overwhelm. So overwhelm, and it would be great if you could maybe also share with you a little bit about how overwhelm comes in for you. So how does that, because it's different for everybody, right? So with me, when I feel overwhelmed, my brain gets fuzzy, and it's like I can't concentrate on, especially definitely can't multitask. I can't concentrate on different things at once. I have to stay really, really single focused. So if people are coming in and you're like I'm like asking my opinion on stuff, I have to just create those boundaries. And also when I feel overwhelmed, I get a bit of a panicky feeling as well. I don't know if that resonates with you, Vicky, and particularly how you experience overwhelm. Essentially what's happening, no matter how we experience it, Vicky's saying through anxiety, overthinking, yeah, and can't concentrate, absolutely. So we have a lot to do, we're, thinking a lot, and then we get that feeling of anxiety. So this is brilliant. This is a beautiful thread for me. When we are overwhelmed, what's happening is that there's lots of different energies within our system being activated all at once. And so I feel some of you have come in and out of these transitions, and you may have heard me talk about our parts, our mind parts. So so we don't just have one ego. That's my understanding, certainly my experience and work that I do, and it's certainly the model of internal family systems psychotherapy that I work with. We don't just have one mind with one personality, just one set of beliefs, that's it. We have many different parts of us, almost many different entities, different parts of our mind, different aspects, different personalities, and whatever you want to label them, that are often very polarized. So some parts of us can be really cool and calm under pressure, and some parts of us can get activated very quickly. All of the parts in our system are all here to protect us, to guide us, to help us survive. And they get triggered because they remember a time when things were really uncomfortable or stressful or traumatic. So when we're kind of, when we're starting to get overwhelmed, so there's potentially lots of things happening at once, and we feel like we have a lot on our plate, energetically, emotionally, maybe there are other people involved, then what happens is those parts in our system remember a time when we were really stressed and this was really difficult, and it's almost like they're alerting us. So this anxiety is actually like a collection of lots of different parts of us that are starting to get activated. It's not just one part of us. Anxiety is this collection, this buzzing energy collection of lots of different parts of us, and that are now starting to feel it and can see that we're headed into a really intense situation that may cause us distress, harm, or emotional turmoil, or trauma. So when we're getting overwhelmed, just understand that these are signs that your body and mind are giving you to tell you that there are a lot of things on our plate and something's got to give. So that's the first thing. So we've got to really acknowledge that. Often when the overwhelm comes up, because we have this part of things, no, we have to do this, we need to just keep going, get our head down and not think about it. What we're actually doing is we're suppressing those parts of us that are sort of saying, hey, we need to do something about this, it's getting too overwhelming. So rather than sort of pushing past and suppressing, what we can do when we feel overwhelmed coming is just be with it, allow that feeling to be there and be okay, acknowledge it, and start to engage with it. So, okay, right, well, what can we do? It's like, imagine you're speaking to your friend, a really good friend that's come to you and said, I'm really overwhelmed, what do I do? What would you do in that situation? You would help the person start to unpick things slowly, and then you would help them work out, okay, well, what is the best way that we can deal with all of this? Maybe there's some support that we need in from our friends or family or community. So we can negotiate with our internal system in this way. And we can make those commitments to say, right, okay, yes, I see that there is overwhelm, that there are parts in my system that are feeling this way. I acknowledge that. And let's go into this dialogue. Okay, what can we do? Okay, right. Yeah, let's get some support in. Let's slow down. And we can put these measures in place. We can have this dialogue with our internal world, coach ourselves basically, and then make the time to put those actions into place. It's the evolutionary action that brings us out of this dense energy. This evolutionary action that helps to transmute that energy into something that is energetic, that is lively, that's able to provide some inroads, some new pathways, and creativity, brings creativity into this area. So first, allow the overwhelm to be there. Notice it, acknowledge it, and really work with those parts that are coming up to have that dialogue of how to move forward. Work to coach your internal system to move forward. And also, you can also, from your self energy, you can send the breath, you can send energy, and you can just talk your parts, your internal world into relaxing. Simply through regulating the breath, through positive affirmations, through connecting to the earth, through taking a break, nourishing yourself with food, with drinks, creativity. These are ways that we can soothe our parts, nourish our parts inside so that they start to relax. And remember that we have this, we've got this. So thank you so much, Vicky, for your question. We had another question. We've got one from Elaine, but I'm going to come back to yours, Elaine, in a moment. We had one from Travel Blog #1 on Instagram Live again, asking, what do you do when those feelings come around? So I hope what I've explained has helped with that. So please let me know if you have any further questions around that. But I think I've explained that one fairly well. The key is to just acknowledge, allow those feelings to be there, not to suppress them, and to create that inner dialogue. And this is all a part of creating a brand new relationship with our internal world that, for many of us, we've never had before. And when we start to speak to ourselves in this way, you will notice that very quickly you will start to get those parts of you on board. You will start to overcome indecision or confusion or anxiety very quickly. It's all about that presence, that awareness, that cultivating that awareness within and being present with ourselves. And when the doubt and the fear and the judgment arises, being present with that, also allowing that to be there too and be okay. Okay, you're welcome, Vicky. I'm going to go to Elaine's question on Facebook. So Elaine says, I love the breath work that you do, although I struggle with some of it and not sure if I could manage a long class, but really enjoy the 20 to 30-minute sessions, which I share in these transmissions. What I'm enjoying the most is the beautiful weather Mother Nature is gifting us with and going for long walks, seeing so much joy in watching nature burst into life and changing week by week. Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you, Elaine. So I'm just going to address what you said first, the breathwork sessions. Okay, so in the longer classes that I do, it can often feel intense. And I had somebody leave me a comment on Facebook as well. I did a global meditation and there was one breathwork practice in that, a 4-part breath. And a friend of mine had left a comment and said that they found it really challenging as well. So what I want to say to that is, these techniques and yoga in itself, yoga means unity. Yoga is all about uniting the different parts of us, our mind, body, and our spirit. And, this is a journey, right? And on this journey, one of the things that we've got to really get to grips with is our own physical body and our mind. And I guess we're sort of conditioned into believing that we just need to go. We just need to do a lot and we need to be the best that we can and be in service, and just that we are living for that. And there's a bit of imbalance in that conditioning. Of course, it's conditioning, but there's a bit of imbalance in that sentiment, because the ultimate teaching of beingness on planet Earth for me has been meeting myself where I'm at. And when I can be okay with where I'm at, and I can create more abundance in that place, I can create more safety, more trust, more confidence in myself by appreciating where I'm at and not putting myself down, by saying, you know what, where I'm at now is pretty great, and I'm really content with that. But when I can get to that place, really love and appreciate myself, build more of those resources around me of trust and of confidence and of clarity and courage, then I can push past that point. Then it's easy for me to say, you know what, but I'm going to push past that point and I'm going to try something new. So this is what I would invite you to look into, Elaine, and anybody else who is who feels that there are certain practices that they love doing, but feel like at some point they get to a struggle, is to meet yourself where you're at. And I invite you to just like bathe in that deliciousness and of self-appreciation, of gratitude for self. When you meet yourself where you're at and you're just able to be in that, and you're able to be content with where you're at, and to feed that back to yourself and say, you know, where I'm at is just great. Because we are sovereign beings, and we need to practice being sovereign beings. We need to practice our free will, because we have been entrapped, enslaved, imprisoned in many spheres of this 3D relative reality. And that conditioning is very deep within us. And so we are in a process of unraveling from that and learning to be free, learning to liberate ourselves, learning to be content with where we're at, be okay with that, rather than always feeling like shamed for where we're at, or like it's bad or it's not good enough. These are fundamental programmings that we have. So the very practice of being in a practice that's challenging and being able to say, I'm going to stop right here, or I'm going to just come into some stillness and just allow the energies of the practice to wash over me. I don't need to go any further, or I don't need to push myself into that practice. That is so empowering for us, to teach us that, you know, we can break away from the restrictions, the self-imposed restrictions and defeating patterns that we have, where we feel like we have to struggle, we have to follow the pack, and we have to struggle. We absolutely don't. So I hope that's helped, Elaine. I really hope that you can maybe shift your perspective a little bit on, you know, what it is that is expected of you, because what is expected of you is absolutely sweet FA. It may feel like others expect something of you, but you have absolutely no obligation whatsoever to play up to those expectations. And the expectations that you create for yourself, well, it's part of your journey to unravel from those expectations and examine those, explore those. Which of those expectations are part of this conditioning of staying, you know, trapped? Practice and exercise your free will and your sovereignty, and really come into that appreciation and gratitude, meeting yourself where you're at, that contentment for where you're at, being okay with that. And whatever you practice you're in, if you come to a class, I have a class this evening, and I know Christina, who you know very well, so of course, has a class tomorrow. If you want to come to a class and all you want to do is sit there, that is enough, because the energy that's being generated and cultivated in that class is so powerful that in itself washes over us and through us and heals us. Even that itself is enough just to be in the energy. So don't feel obliged. If you're not feeling great, but you really want the nourishing, healing energy, I say to my students, just come. Just come and be present in the class. Just sit in meditation or lie down and bathe in those energies. I'm glad this is helpful for you too, Vicky. If anyone is just joining us on Instagram Live or Facebook, I've asked you all to share any questions you have or reflections or any comments that you want to make about things that you see in the world or things that are up for you, whether they're amazing, wonderful things or challenging. I would love to open this space up for more sharing and a bit more interaction. Have somebody on Facebook saying hello, beautiful, namaste, amazing to have you. Thank you so much for joining. Do you have a question? I think it's maybe Lisa, I don't know. It just says Facebook user because I'm using a streaming platform. I know it was Elaine that made the comment before her name's come up, but the next person it's just said Facebook user, but I have a feeling it's Lisa. But please, yeah, leave a comment, leave a question. I would absolutely love to engage. Anybody on Instagram Live, do you have any questions or reflections or something that you want to share? Perhaps you'd like to share with me some of the practices or some of the topics that you'd like to see me discuss next time. That's also really, really, really helpful for me. You can leave a comment anytime on Facebook or on Instagram. Elaine, thank you so much. That was really interesting. I do feel obliged to complete things that sometimes I may not want to. I hope that doesn't sound wrong. Absolutely. No, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You are at liberty to exercise your free will. And again, whatever situation has arose is an opportunity for you to practice that and to practice being okay with meeting yourself where you're at, going to your own boundary and staying there, and then working on whatever comes up after that, the guilt or whatever it is that comes up. I'm not saying for 1 minute that you feel any guilt, but just reflecting on myself and those times where I felt like, oh, I'm going to stop here, and then noticing what feelings come up, and then I'm like, oh, I feel like people are watching me. Maybe the teacher is going to feel bad because I wasn't able to complete that class, or I feel like there's something wrong with me, or I'm not good enough because I couldn't complete it. And then that's what we work on. We use that time to work on that stuff, because then when we're working on it, as we do this more, as we meet ourselves where we're at and just be content with that, we find that because we worked on that stuff that arises, that it comes less and less. And we get to a point often where we can just, I'm going to stop right here and I'm just going to float around in my blissfulness and joyfulness. And we just watch as this peace, this sense of peace and gratitude for self arises. And we're totally okay with that. So yeah, Elaine, keep going and absolutely just keep being you and exercising your free will and sovereignty and meeting yourself where you're at. Good morning, Anne. We are sharing any challenging things, beautiful things, any questions or reflections or absolutely anything at all. We have a few more minutes left. So if you have any questions or anything that you'd like to share, please put it in the comment section. I'm also looking for you guys to share with me different themes and topics that you would like me to share over the coming days, weeks, and months. I just absolutely love doing these transmissions and connecting to you all. A community is so important to me. So Vicky's asking, how do you recommend working on these things that come up? Okay. So very similar to what I talked about before, it's really important for us to really to recognize that these parts of us that are coming up, to say something, share something with us, whether it's a discomfort or whether, you know, it's an opinion or a judgment or a doubt or worry, whatever is rising is a part of us. And it is trying to protect us in some way. And so the most important techniques for working with these parts are to give them that space. So the noticing and the acknowledging, and almost like talking back to those parts of us, like, I see you there, I feel the discomfort here, but talking to it as if it's another person, and starting to separate our self, because self is soul, right? We are soul. And these parts of us, our mind is our mind. It's not all of who we are. And often we have this false sense of self, like we believe that we are, that the mind is us, and we kind of blend and merge with the mind. So as we start to gain this conscious awareness, we can actually start to create a bit of separation and see and anchor more into our self, and to begin to have this dialogue from self, from soul energy. So when I'm talking, when thoughts are coming up and feelings that are uncomfortable, or anger that's coming up, I'm talking to them as if they are like a part in my system or a friend in my system. I'm not talking to it as if it's me. I'm not allowing myself to become so engulfed into it. I can actually see and feel that anger arising within me, and I know it is a part of me, but I'm not accepting that it's the whole of me. And so by practicing this type of conscious awareness, where I can see it and acknowledge its presence, and ask it what it needs, or ask it what its role is, or ask it what I can do to help relax that sense of anger. And often these, you know, these things that are arising will just say to you, we need to leave, or this doesn't feel good, we need to stop doing this. And we listen to that. We give our body what it needs. We take that action so that we can feel safer, we can feel better. And this is all part of creating that relationship with our internal world, the relationship that helps us to build this trust, because it's the trust that is so vital and important. When those parts of our mind-body complex fully trust us, that we as self and soul are in the driving seat, and we have the power and ability to create the stability and to keep us surviving in the world, then those parts of our mind will kind of relax. Because you see, they're working overtime to keep control and manage us, manage our thoughts, manage our behaviors, manage our emotions. And we become that, we give ourselves up to that. We forget, we have this false sense of self. We forget that actually we are soul. I am soul, and soul is like this powerful, resourceful, courageous, abundant, compassionate energy that is non-judgmental, that is stable, that is already fully actualized and fully realized. We don't need to practice to be a more effective or a better soul. Soul already is fully actualized, fully realized, fully abundant, fully powerful. The parts of our mind, on the other hand, are on a journey to join soul. So we engage with what arises with that loving kindness, as if it is a friend in our system, and we just give the energy. We give. We have that relationship. We build that dialogue. We build that relationship from the seat of soul, and at some point we are able to sit in our joyfulness with a smile on our face, as we see our dark shadow rise, as we see our deepest, darkest secrets locked away, buried away, rise and come up. And we remember we have this shadow, we have this trauma, we have this karma that is locked away, but actually we're able to see it like, oh wow, wow, and we are able to see it anchored in our stability and our joyfulness. Because, you know, healing, facing ourselves doesn't have to be all dark and challenging. It can also be light and beautiful. Don't get me wrong, there are times where we need to go into our shadow and need to go into our dark night of the soul. We need to feel the anger. We need to feel the pain and suffering to remind ourselves, because this is a part of what it is to explore our beingness. You know, sometimes we will really be it, sometimes we won't. But as long as we can, at some point, whether it's in the moment or later on, rise back up and detach from that anger or from that shame or whatever, and come back to that remembrance of like, I'm soul, I'm gonna give the healing and the love to transform. We can't give the love and healing to those burdens, to that trauma, if we're blended with being separated, love and healing. I think we have another common lane. A group that I'd been part of for a while, able to make the decision and felt bad doing it, but then felt so much better afterwards. Yeah, well, this is it. You know, we also, on the flip side, we don't need to around in some situations, do we? Like, we can just leave and just say, well, no, that's not for me. And just because some of our peers are like, oh, this is so beneficial, this is so wonderful, and we think, well, you know, we're peers, we're in the same field, like it should also be beneficial for me. Not. I have so many of my sisters and brothers who, you know, we all work in very similar ways, but there are just some things that just resonate with me. My own husband, for example, we do so much healing work together, and we teach our students, and I love to go to movement sessions and movement is somatic based, whereas for him that's just not his thing. You know, we're very, very, very different and good groups, but ultimately we're working towards the same goal. Else for us to visit, explore, and inquire into is obligation, not just obligation, like I should be doing this because that person is doing this, that sort of energy that binds us. So free yourselves, liberate yourself. Draw this transmission, absolutely amazing with you, so engaging with you all. I just wanted to say that today we launched a social media campaign, so you can see a bit more of me. Actually, tomorrow we launch. We are going to be sharing much more juicy information about our brand new online course. It's called Holistic Medicine Practitioner Training, and it's aimed those of you out there that are working with people that are healers, practitioners, therapists, teachers, those of you working with public health, youth workers. We want to share with you our tools and techniques and wisdom for self-care, spiritual growth, professional development, and business development. We have designed this beautiful online program. Our community have told us that this is what you need, and we are so excited to share this with you. So if this is the first time you're hearing about this, please head over to the links in my bio on Instagram or on in the Facebook group on the last Friday post, or check out my page, Natasha Anand, on Facebook, where we're posting all the time about courses. We have a free, beautiful course called Protect Your Mind, Body, and Energy Fields. If you haven't signed up for that, get that and slowly work through the content. It's an amazing free resource. And yeah, look out for our holistic medicine course. If you want, if what I'm covering in these transmissions resonates with you, if you are totally up and recognize the importance and value of upgrading your self-care, of your personal practice, of your professional practice, picking up some brand new techniques from some of the most ancient, indigenous, esoteric, most potent techniques that we have, that we've tried and tested. We want to share those with you. Plus, we want to help you to grow your business and create your unique offering to the world. That's what we're here to do. We are here to support the next generation of conscious leaders. So I am so delighted to have joined you today. Have a wonderful day. I absolutely am going to enjoy the sunshine and my mother-in-law's 70th birthday, which I'm excited about. I'm sending so much love to you all. Namaste.